Welcome back. It's our big story this Monday morning. COSATU is demanding a moratorium on retrenchments to combat South Africa's dire economic situation. The Labour Federation has called for a national day of action in protest across the country. In fact, let's touch base with our reporter in Durban, SABC News reporter Jade Paulse, who joins us now live for a sense of how this is all unfolding there. And Jade, a lot of people turning up there, at least from what we can see. What can you tell us?
Well, yes, the COSATU and the South African Commercial Catering Allied Workers Union here in Durban are coming out in full force. Hundreds have come out today for the National Day of Action against the economic crisis in the country, characterized by joblessness, high unemployment rate and poverty and inequality. But to speak more about this initiative here in Durban as it goes across the country, I am joined by the Provincial Secretary of COSATU. Thank you so much for joining us on SABC News. Hundreds have come out today. The main aim today is to tackle the high unemployment rate and crisis that we are facing as a country in South Africa.
Yes, exactly. That's why we are here. You can see that workers have come in their maximum numbers from all sectors of our economy, public sector, private sector, to actually observe this International Decent Work Day, which as COSATU we are using to raise plight-facing workers in this country, in South Africa. As you have already alluded, actually what we are saying is that you can have an economy that continues to reproduce unemployment, also to shed jobs. This is why we are calling for our business sector, we are calling for our government that we need to work together to stop the job losses that are currently occurring in our country. You'll see when we take through the memorandum, even here in this province, there are a number of companies that are shedding jobs, companies that accept workers with Section 189, which was saying that you can't retrench workers while you are saying that you are committed in creating decent jobs. So that's what we are actually raising, that the government must urgently intervene in stopping this retrenchment that is taking place and commit in creating decent jobs. But we are also raising a question on the protection of the collective bargaining. Currently, it's a negotiating season for most of our unions and companies. The public sector as well is negotiating its salary increase. What we see and what we are experiencing is a low morale from government to actually accede to workers' demands. When workers are crying out and saying that the cost of living is so high, but the government is really not committing in improving the lives of workers. As we are negotiating, we are making a call to government that please listen to our public sector unions, because they are carrying the mandate from our workers. The workers are saying that they are suffocating as we are currently negotiating.
I just want to come in there, Mr. Mkhize. We've seen several of these protests taking place, not only in KZN, but across the country. Do they actually have an impact in like you say, showing government that there is a cry for assistance?
They're having a huge impact. If you see how much is still the level of exploitation, but we have done a lot, we have done much to improve the lives of workers in this country. They actually have an impact. Today, we are talking, one of the things that we are raising here is that there must be an implementation of the NHI. Remember when we started fighting NHI through such campaigns, it was around 2007, 2008, fighting for the NHI. Now we are realizing it. As from inception, COSATU has been calling for the national minimum wage from its formation. Now we have national minimum wage in this country. We've been from the COVID-19, we said workers must be allowed to withdraw from their pension funds. Now we have achieved the law now that allows workers to withdraw from their pension funds. Much as we are saying today, one of the things that we are raising is that there are companies that have been exposed that have not been contributing the monies of workers to pension funds. We are making a call that those companies that must be declared as a crime, fraud and corruption. Those companies must face consequences, must face the demands of the law, and the money salaries of workers must be recovered and it must go back to their rightful owners. So we have achieved a number of improvements in legislation. This is why we are also saying that even under this GNU, one issue that we are raising here is that workers must be able to unite, come together, defend and advance their claims.
Well, I'm sure you and I will be chatting throughout the course of this march, and as we look ahead, many of the grievances of the workers here on the ground, much like in other provinces, are calling for minimum wage to be increased. Also saying that there are several challenges as well, looking at some of the sectors within government, calling on government to really come on board. This is not the first time we've seen this protest. I'm just going to walk out of shot. We've seen it many a time, and also just calling on government to also rally behind these workers in the different sectors. But we'll be keeping up to breast as we walk with this march, walk with COSATU and affiliated alliance groups who are calling for change in South Africa, merely saying that unemployment rate is at an all-time high, the cost of living is high. I'll hand it back to you in studio.
Right, Jade Paulse, thanks very much indeed. You can see a hive of activity there in Durban in KwaZulu-Natal. Let's pop you over to the Free State, more specifically in Bloemfontein. That's where we find our Aphumelele Mhlalane, who's also watching developments around this National Day of Action. And Aphumelele, we can see in your frame there a heavy police presence where you are.
Yes, Ayanda, the Sakau workers are making their way to the TFS wholesalers. Don't throw away from where they will be delivering their memorandum. We do know the issues that they are calling is for the strap of more hours that they are working with. Of course, they are saying that they are underpaid. There's issues of casualization, retrenchments, and they are saying that the restructuring that continues to take place in these wholesalers, in the sectors, continues to hamper their progress when it comes to the promotions thereof. They're saying also the benefits are the issue. They're working under strenuous conditions where they are saying there's not even sufficient benefits thereof. They recall all 15 workers who were unilaterally placed on unpaid leave. These are some just other issues that they want to be addressed, especially here in the Free State. Like we do know, Ayanda, Free State has many of these sectors of hospitalization, the retailers, and those, of course, are placed in your Kwakwa areas in the Eastern Free State, Butabelo, Tabanchu. But these workers here, they are saying they are in solidarity. It's not only happening here in Bloemfontein, but they are saying that they are in communication with the other workers. They're calling for one thing and one thing only, that they should be paid a minimum wage. They are saying that they're working very hard and under strenuous conditions, and saying that if those that would be retrenched and they wouldn't have benefits that they have to have, and they also saying that their rights, of course, they are being infringed, and these are just some of the issues that they want to be addressed. This group of people, Ayanda, it's mostly those that are working in the retail sector, and also in these the TFS wholesalers that you see on the streets, where they will be providing their memorandum. I just want to try read what is in their placards. As you can see, they are marching and, of course, holding their placards. And we apologize for the sound, the vulgar language in their music, but like I did indicate, these workers are saying that they need to be treated equally. Their rights should not be infringed, and saying that Sakau supports the COSATU March for International Decent Work, and saying they want the living wages. We can see the strong police presence here, and these workers, Ayanda, they are also have been complaining that this happening in the province that has been swept under the carpet. And with this demonstration, this is them saying that they need their voices to be heard. It shouldn't just be a national march without any, without any progress, without any resolutions. But at this stage that they are doing, this demonstration that they are doing, they are saying that they should be treated equally. They also mentioned the issue of human rights, that they want it to intervene because it doesn't end there where they are working. They want the human rights to take them into consideration and fight their battle that they experience in their working conditions. As like I did indicate, Ayanda, here this streets here in where you find those TFS wholesalers, and we are expecting them, of course, to deliver their memorandum.
All right, Phumelele Mhlalane live to us there from Bloemfontein. We can see a much steadier flow of that protest, if you like. Traffic seemingly not adversely affected, at least where she's at. But a different picture in Durban, now seemingly at the CBD, where a much larger crowd has come out in support of this National Day of Action that COSATU has earmarked in order to essentially put a spotlight on their concerns around unemployment, inequality, and I suppose just generally the state of working conditions around the country. It comes at a time, of course, where Stats SA has released the latest quarterly labour force survey earlier this year, which pointed out an increase, a slight uptick in the unemployment rate in South Africa, currently at 33.5%, which is absolutely staggering. That means 1 in 3 people on average in this country is without a job. In fact, the expanded definition of the unemployment rate is even more ghastly at a 42.6%. So we're, I suppose, watching all of this in that context where really the economic indicators in the country are certainly not where certainly the labour unions would want them to be. Even though, of course, government will tell you that work is being put in, especially as part of the government of national unity, to try and shift the dial, perhaps even change the tide completely. But all of that yet to be realized on the ground, as it were. We're watching that story very closely for you. And as soon as there's any other major development, of course, we'll take you back to the streets of these many communities around the country taking part in this National Day of Action.